Hey there YouTube fans, AC Productions here. And today I'm going to be showing you on how to install these fork stem covers that go on top where your triple tree is. These two are for your fork stem and this is for your center cap by the triple tree area. So I purchased these because I saw them on another bike and it took me a while to find them. And once I did, I found out they were made by Yamaha. So they came in this package. They're straight from Yamaha, as you could see, the fork cap. And the color on all of this is gunmetal. They also have blue and silver. I think it looks really good, so that's why I opted to get this one. So just note that these are complete aluminum, and if it wasn't for these and to make this video for you guys, I was actually going to just paint my triple tree bolts just with the flat black spray paint. But I wanted to see what the hype was about these. They do look nice. They do feel very nice to the touch. And the only other minus I would say besides the price, these were very expensive. These were $60 a piece. So that's a lot of money for these small aluminum covers. The only other thing I would say that would be a minus when you get these, the screws that these clamp on to, which I'm going to show you in a second, the way they clamp on, see if I could focus here, the way that these clamp on to the bolts or whatever on the triple tree is, if you see that hole there, a small screw actually goes in there. So from this end you put the screw through here and then it just kind of goes in, and it actually, there's 3 of them on this one. There's one right over here, one over here on this side, and one on that side. So all these screws come in like so, and then that's how they clamp on to the bolt onto the triple tree. So that's how they go on. So as you can see, this is how small the screws are. They're very little. So upon getting these cap covers, they do not come with a tool. In order to install these, you do need a tool. It's a Allen key, and the Allen key size that you're going to need is going to be a 1.5 millimeter Allen key. You can see this is a very small one. You can't even see it on the camera. That's how small as you can see right there, it almost pretty much looks like a little tiny dot. And if you don't have an Allen key that's 1.5 millimeter, I would suggest going to your auto store, or if you have a Sears or some type of hardware store, and purchasing something like this, which is like a small kit that has all kinds of Allen key sizes, as you can see. So something like this would come in handy, and the smallest one, luckily I did have it in this kit, is a 1.5 millimeter, which is pretty much the smallest one. So that's what you're going to need to use to install these cap covers. So if you have something like that to you know, put your bit, I would suggest maybe not using this because it's such a long handle, and the area we're going to be in is going to be, well, you still could use it, but I would suggest get something a little bit more low profile. Something like this is made by Craftsman, and it's a ratcheting style tool that you could use with these bits. So you just put it on there like so, and it works for getting into tight areas. It has the ratcheting style kind of tool. So this is what we're going to be using. Okay, tools needed for the job is going to be your tool that's going to hold, or if you have an L-shaped Allen key, a 1.5 millimeter Allen key. This is just a bit that I got with my little tool set, and I'm using this ratchet style tool to go with the bit. So it's a 1.5 millimeter Allen key that you're going to need to use to install those caps. Shoe glue. The reason I'm using the shoe glue is because I will be very upset that after I put these on, somehow they vibrated and fell onto the street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, besides putting the screws on there, I'm actually going to put, if you could see on this surface here, I'm going to put a little bit of the shoe glue onto the surface here and pretty much glue it, because I definitely don't want these to get lost onto the street, nor do I want them to get damaged if they actually did fall out and I was able to catch it and they fell and they got scraped, because these are very, I would say, very nice looking. So that's the whole reason for the shoe glue. Next would be alcohol, because you want to make sure the area that you're putting on is clean, and your paper towels. Also, another thing what you want to do is, for the screws, you also want to use some blue Loctite. That way you guarantee that the screws are not going to vibrate off. So that's going to be another thing you're going to want to use. Alright, so let's get started on the installation. Okay, so now this is where the covers are going to go, are going to be over here. But say that these caps are just too expensive for you and you don't want to look at this anymore. This is what I was originally going to use. I was going to use the flat black Plasti Dip, and I was just going to spray paint these bolts over here on the triple tree. So that's another alternative if you wanted to go that way. The can costs $7, so then, you know, you could use it for many things. So I was just just gonna spray paint it and then leave it as is and save myself some money. But I like the design on it, and I was willing to spend a little bit of money. I probably won't ever buy anything that expensive like that ever again, but I wanted to show you guys this video and to show you those parts from Yamaha. Alright, okay, first thing you want to do is you want to grab your paper towel and you want to grab your alcohol. You can see the alcohol. Grab your alcohol, paper towel, and then give it a little bit of a, don't soak it too much, but just enough where you're going to clean the area. The reason we're cleaning the area is because I am going to use a shoe goo to, along with installing this product onto the bike. If you're not going to use a shoe goo, then don't worry about cleaning it because you don't need to clean it. The screws are actually going to just clamp onto the surface of this area right over here. But since I am going to use a shoe goo, I want to make sure that the surface is clean and it gets a good contact with the metal. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a wipe down here. Make sure that the area is clean of all oils, any oil or debris or anything, any dust. And I just want to make sure it's so that way you could get a really good contact with the glue. Okay, now that you're done cleaning out the bolts that where you're going to put those caps, now what you want to do is you want to grab your cap. We're going to first start off, let's go with the center cap. Okay, so let's grab our center cap, which is this one right here, and we're going to go ahead and put those small little screws. All right, so this is how it looks like from the inside. It's actually bevel there. So as you put the screws in, you want to make sure you put just a little bit of Loctite on each of the little screws as you put them inside. Also make sure that you're careful when you're handling with these small little screws. Like you can see, they're so little. You may want to grab your Allen key and then just go ahead and put the small screw on the Allen key. That way it actually holds it for you. So that way you won't lose it and you're able to put a little bit of the Loctite on there. It actually helps, that way you're not fiddling with it. So it's actually on there pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of Loctite, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it onto the cap. So as you can see, I just put a little bit on there and it was enough to actually fill the whole thing. I didn't have to squeeze it at all. So once you get it on there, you don't even need this tool. You can just take your Allen key out, then just go ahead, look for where you're going to put the screw in, which is going to be that hole. And then from this end, just go ahead and put the screw in. So just make sure that you're careful and make sure you don't cross thread it, because this is aluminum, so it can actually cross thread very easily. So just make sure you're very careful when putting this on there, and make sure it just goes on smoothly. If you feel any resistance, keep on undoing it until you actually feel it go in smooth. Once you feel it going smooth, then just go ahead and put it on there. But make sure when you put it to not have it stick out all the way. Don't have it sticking out through here, because if you have it sticking out through there like this, as you can see, it's already coming out. It's not going to go on to the bolt over there on your center part easily. So just put it on there, but just make sure that it doesn't protrude to the other side. So once you have it on there, you go ahead and you put the other two screws on there with the thread lock. Okay, now that you have all the screws in there, what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this if you don't want, but this is just an extra step. I'm going to put a little bit of shoe goo at the edge of the surface right here. So at this outer edge is where I'm going to put the shoe goo, and I may put a dab here in the middle too, because it is going to make contact with the center part over here of the triple tree. So let me see if I could zoom over there. And so it's going to make contact right here in the center, so that should hold it. And then also at the outer perimeter, so it should be like so. So when I put it on there and then tighten all the bolts or all those small screws, it should be held on pretty well and not go anywhere. And as soon as that adhesive dries, it's really not going to go anywhere. So even if the small little screws happen to vibrate out, which they won't, but just in case they do, the epoxy is actually going to hold this in place. Okay, as you can see, I already put all the epoxy on there, on the sides and in the center. So just make sure that you know where the screws are at. I'm going to have the 2 screws at the bottom, and then there's going to be 1 on the top. It's 3 screws. So I'm going to make sure that the 2 screws are towards the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put it right on top, like so, and then just go ahead and give it a little small press. That way that the adhesive gets in contact with the triple tree. Now right here you could grab your Allen key like so, and then just kind of hand tighten the screws. And then if you really need to, just when you use a tool, don't go overpowering on the screws, because those screws are very small and the aluminum is it could, like I said, it could thread out. If you over tighten it, you could actually over thread the screw hole. So and then it'll be pointless. It'll just keep on spinning. So I'm just going to go ahead and just hand tighten it, and then I'll probably use a tool and just give it just a little bit of a turn and make sure it's really on there. Okay, so we already got that one down. The center cap is already on there. As you can see, there's a little bit of glue. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it, but if it does bother you, you could actually just wipe it off. Once it dries, So it's on there pretty well. It looks great. So now let's go ahead and let's get to our fork stem covers, which are right there. So we're gonna, same thing like the other one. We have our cap right here. And you wanna grab those small screws, which on this one there's going to be also 3 locations. So there's one on this side here and over here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab those small screws, put a little thread lock, and then put them in there, but I'm gonna make sure that they don't protrude all the way to the other side. Okay, I already put all the little small screws in there. You can see I put a lot of glue in there. I think I did too much glue on this one. And same thing like I did with this one, I'm gonna make sure that the 2 small screws are pointing downward and then the one upward. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna just put that on our fork cap over here. So you just want to make sure you give it a good press. Also, you want to make sure that you're able to get to the screw, and it looks like I'm gonna have to just turn it a little bit to make sure I have access to that screw in this location. So I'm just gonna turn it. I think that should be good. I still have access to get to the screw over here and to the 2 at the bottom there. So just give it a good press. Make sure that that glue is actually getting in contact with the cap cover. Then go ahead and grab your Allen key and just go ahead and hand tighten it until you can't tighten it anymore with your fingers. So like I said, just take your time with it. At the same time that you're screwing it on with your hand, just keep some pressure on the cap, because you don't want to be tightening up the bolt and have the cap come up as you're tightening it. So just give it some pressure and just go ahead and keep tightening down that small screw until you can't tighten down anymore. Once you feel that, you could just go ahead and pull the tool out, your Allen key. Make sure you do it carefully because you don't want to have that small bolt strip out. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and do those other 2 there. So once you're done with the hand tightening, this is when you grab your tool. Also give some pressure and then just keep tightening until you start feeling that resistance. Once you get that resistance, just go ahead and just give it a little bit more and then stop, because you don't want to over tighten and cross thread and strip out the threads on the screw. So once you get that, don't go any further because you can't strip it. So just go ahead and take it out and make sure on this side. Okay, and that's it. So now let's get to our final one, which is going to be on that side right over there. Okay, now I get to the other side. Now here's the cap. I already put the glue and I already have the screws on there with the Loctite. Now you just want to make sure that you're able to get to all the small screws, and you have to watch out for this area because obviously on this side we have the brake reservoir. So just want to make sure that you're able to get to all the small screws to tighten them. So this might be a little tricky, so let's just go ahead and put the cap on there and seat it on there. Alright, it's going to be a little bit tricky because, like I said, now we have the brake reservoir in our way. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it, I think up to right there. I think I still can get to all the screws. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the Allen key on there and then kind of see how far I can go with it. I think about right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten down the screw as I'm doing it. I'm putting some pressure on the top so that way that as I'm tightening down the small screw, it's not going to start going up on me. Alright, that's as far as hand tightening goes. Now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten down those other ones only with my hand, not with the tool yet. So let's go on there and just hand tighten it for now until you can't tighten it no more with your hand. And it looks like I won't be able to get to that other one because it is already on that spot there. So when you come to this part, I think it's with the glue, it should be okay. So I'm not really going to worry about it too much. But if you really want to if you're not using the glue, you're going to have to loosen up your whole brake reservoir and the front brake. So you're going to have to loosen these 2 bolts right here. So these 2 top ones, loosen them up, and then you're going to have to move your reservoir out of the way so you could get to that small screw if you're able to, the way you put it on there. So but for me, I put the glue on there, so the glue should be suffice because I did put it on the edge and on the center, so that should hold it. And plus I'm going to tighten these 2 screws, so that should be okay. So I won't be able to get to that screw over here. Alright, so that concludes the installation of the fork stem covers plus a center cap cover, and it looks better. It looks great. Like I said, its quality of the aluminum is really good. It's really nice. It has a nice little design to it. It's a gunmetal color, so I think it's gonna blend in. It blends in very nice. Like I said, the only thing was just that it was kind of pricey at $60 a piece. They should include a Allen key to tighten down those small little screws. So I'm going to have a link in the description below on where I had purchased these specific cap covers. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and leave any comments below. Thanks for watching.